What's the
Yeah.
format? What's
Okay,
the
so I
format?
sent you some notes.
You sent me some notes. Yeah, I've got those.
Yeah, so I'll be leading on it, and then I'll be mostly sort of popping questions to you. And we can extempore, we can change things as things go along. You know what we're like anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, can you hear my audio?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear my audio?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Oh, assalamu alaikum, Mohammad.
Assalamualaikum.
There's the mountaineer. The mountaineer's turned up.
Alaikum salam, barakatuh. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, brother Mohammed.
Oh, we are live.
Alaikum salam, barakatuh. Good to see you as well.
Good, guys. I think we are going live. So I think what we'll do, pop off and just put it on your, just go to the Voice of Islam TV or Facebook page. You know what? You can actually put it in the chat. You can actually put it in the chat as well. Where is he? It's not on the page yet because I'm here on the page. It hasn't arrived yet. Coolio. So how's it? So Mohammad Thompson, Lauren Booth, Mohammad Thompson.
Assalamualaikum.
Great honor to meet you, Mohammed. Nice
Likewise,
to see you.
inshallah. Likewise.
I'm going to talk a little bit about never having been to New Zealand, and I've been so close.
Oh, you'll have to come. You'll have to come.
Yeah.
It's a place to be.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Only got a couple of infections today, only about 3, so that's alhamdulillah, we're in the right direction.
Allah protect you and keep you safe, and your Prime Minister as well. What an amazing lady.
Yes,
That's
alhamdulillah.
what we were going to do. Right.
What an empath.
Rightio, chaps.
So what's the process here?
We're waiting for it to go live on Restream.
All right.
So it should be appearing on the social media sites right now, but I haven't as yet seen it. This is our first attempt, isn't it? So there is obviously it's not Ramadan for officially yet, so not too bad.
No, we couldn't find the moon today. Too cloudy.
I think we are. Let's see. Copy streaming link. Lauren, can you see the live? Yeah, copy the streaming link. Right. You see it says live in the red box on the screen.
Yeah.
Copy it
live,
and then just
YouTube live.
Yeah, copy it. Just hover over your mouse over it.
Yeah.
And then you'll see copy streaming link and another little thing. And just go ahead and.
So what do we have to do with that? Copy it.
Okay, so basically you go into here and then it says live, right? Hover over the box and it brings a drop-down menu and it says copy streaming link or view stream on custom live streaming service. Can you see that?
Yep.
No, so I haven't got that at all. I've no idea.
You haven't got it? Oh, okay. Because
I can see you. Are you on
view stream on custom live?
I'm absolutely confused. I don't know what's
happening. Don't worry. Confused.com. This is the first one anyway. Sorry, guys.
It's already live, apparently.
Hey,
live. Okay, guys.
Technicals. Go ahead, Yusuf.
Right. So the first thing I'm doing, Lauren, is I'm just going to put it on my page. Yeah. So you talk for a little bit. Bismillah. You talk. So introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is Lauren Booth. Over to you.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. If you know, we're a bit like Laurel and Hardy. I won't say which is which, me and brother Yusuf. Yeah. We've known each other a long time. Our families have known each other a long time. So we're going to be quite casual in this and just know that's why, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So, you know, I've been on a platform by the grace of Allah with brother Yusuf many times. And yeah, we will talk over each other, but I'll mostly listen, inshallah, and defer to you as my elder statesman.
Right. Well, am I that old? Right. I'm just checking to see if we're live on. Yes, I can see you.
Alhamdulillah. So my name is Lauren Booth. I am, by the grace of Allah, a slave of the One, the Creator. I've been Muslim for 10 years now. This is about to be my 10th Ramadan. And I come from a British family. And so that in itself has been an interesting journey. And so some of you may be converts out there. So you know that there's always questions that come up kind of annually, biannually, or when there's flare-ups in the family. But I have to say, largely by the grace of Allah, I have managed to keep my family relationships going. So for me, Ramadan started off as something really, really difficult because I didn't understand it at all. And I think there is a misunderstanding about how easy it is to understand. Even this Ramadan, honestly, this Ramadan is my first ever Ramadan that I've planned anything. Because when people keep saying, oh, we're really busy getting things together for Ramadan. Well, I was a single mum for a number of years. Just come to Islam. All I knew was don't eat and don't drink during the day. Halas. That's it. So I was getting on with my job, going and making TV programs, coming home hungry, giving the kids their food, my 2 daughters, and then eating later on my own, and then getting up on my own, and then praying on my own, and just thinking, okay, I love how hard this is, because that's kind of my character, coming from extreme idea of freedom to something that's like, you better control yourself. I really appreciated that. But if you ask me about spirituality or planning or having iftars at the mosque, as we used to, I didn't know any of that. And so along with the kind of the rigor of it and the respect for it, I didn't get the spirituality. I didn't understand about you should even read the Quran more. So this for me feels like, alhamdulillah, my first Ramadan. But then every Ramadan should be our first Ramadan.
Indeed. Well, welcome to all the viewers. Lauren was just impromptu taking over the host. Well, we're going to probably be co-hosts actually for the equality issue between men and women. Of course, we've got to be careful about that, right?
So, no, we're not sarcastic about it. No, brother, we're not sarcastic about it. It's okay to be equal but different.
That's it. That's the one I was looking for. It's a bit early in the morning, maybe. So anyway, Lauren, how are you today?
Alhamdulillah. Well, first of all, right? where am I? I'm having my kind of, you know, as you're in New Zealand, a lot of you guys, and it's a real honor to be speaking to New Zealand. After the very sad first anniversary, we had planned in Turkey to hold commemorations and I was part of a special union who are called Hello Brother. And we were going to discuss the impact of what happened a year ago. But obviously with lockdown, we didn't get to share that. So I just want to share my great sense of loss and respect for your community, and my great deep sense of love for you as my brothers and sisters, and you know, prayers as well for those who continue to grieve, and knowledge that of course those who went were undoubtedly the best of us and taken by the grace of Allah. So I just want to express that, inshallah. So I'm in Istanbul, by the way. I'm not in London.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Yes, you're not in London, and you're therefore not with your daughter or daughters plural, because you have 2 daughters. So it must be quite difficult, this lockdown, in the sense that you'd love to be with your dear daughters. And of course I know them very well, and particularly Alex. She's a real inspiration for the ummah, in fact, isn't it? Well, that's what I think. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, how is Istanbul, first of all?
So well, where I live is right opposite a little mosque. So you do get that literally the adhan reverberates around our living room. So that's wonderful. And at the moment, what's really interesting in Turkey is, and this really moves you, after Isha every night, they're broadcasting a special dua, asking for Allah's forgiveness and asking Allah to take away a plague. And so you open the window and you hear, La ilaha illallah, la ilaha, the crying coming through the minarets of people pleading, please Allah, forgive us, don't take us in a state of disarray, don't punish us, you know, and that's really, really, you know, it strengthens you, mashallah. And of course, there's an announcement now, stay in your homes. So we're on a 4-day lockdown.
Yeah, so 4 days over the weekend period, right? As Ramadan is starting probably that's because we don't, of course, we don't know because we haven't sighted moons in. Well, I've been told that the moon was 5 hours old after them. I said it's about 18. It will be 18 hours old tonight in the UK. The moon, the new moon.
So what does
the
that
Ramadan
mean?
moon.
What does that
Well,
mean?
that means we have to be able to sight it. In other words, so it's pretty much sure in the UK. It would be strange if we didn't start Ramadan after Maghrib tonight, first day.
What? First fast tomorrow?
Yes, it should be, but
Allah
Allah knows.
Akbar.
Let's leave it in the hands of Allah.
Of course.
Okay, so so beautiful. So Istanbul, very beautiful city. I mean, I've been there a number of times. I've given some lectures there, and I really do love the place. It really has that massive sense of history, and there's great feeling of togetherness in the city. I don't know whether I'm just becoming over emotional about it. Is that what you sense about the city? And the history is very, very strong there, and lots and lots of tourists coming in all the time.
By the grace of Allah, I'm involved with the CCC, who are a cultural program attached to the Soleimani Mosque, which if you ever come to Turkey, Istanbul, I really recommend you do. I'm going to go on for a bit of a tangent here and just say to Muslims around the world, stop spending our money in cities where the governments hate us. Why go to Paris when you've got Istanbul? And I tell you why I make that comparison is because we owe it to each other to build up our nation. We owe it to each other to support our internal tourism as an ummah, and to bring on the next generation, and to give confidence economically, and to interact more rather than othering each other. So that's a bit of a passion of mine. So really, I've been making dua. I think you know, Yusuf. I said, as soon as I came to Islam, I'm done with the UK. There's good stuff in the UK, beautiful Muslims in the UK, and my family in the UK. But as a kind of center for spirituality, I wanted out because of capitalism, because of how the destructive nature of drugs and alcohol. Now I'm not going to do an East-West thing here, because as you'll know in New Zealand, and as they'll know in Qatar and even Saudi Arabia, all these places, drugs and alcohol will find the people whose nafs are asking for it and who are in a difficult situation. So addictions arise anywhere. Let's say it's the global moment. But the way that it's endorsed in the UK, the way that children are educated in the UK, I found really degrading, really questionable, and I wanted to make hijrah, if this counts as hijrah, Allah knows, but to really be in a place where I was building a structure for Muslims as a positive force in the world again. So, so that's, although that said, I'm going to jump in here because with Brother Mohammed, my daughter, Alexandra, who we've spoken about, she's desperate to move to New Zealand because there was a study done a couple of years ago, right, which said that there are Muslim countries where Islam is not apparent. And we know all of our bad habits, so I won't list them here because we're also a beautiful nation of good manners inside our homes, but somehow in the streets of our major cities that seems to be forgotten. Whereas New Zealand always tops the rankings as having good manners, care for one another, responsibility, social, not entire cohesion, but concern for your neighbors, just a good place to be. And if you add Islam into that mix, wow, it must be profound. So I've been asking Allah for a while as well to come to New Zealand, by the way. So I believe it will happen, inshallah.
Inshallah. So, so Mohammed Thompson, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, barakatuh.
You don't mind if I bring you in at the moment?
Bring me in,
As
inshallah.
You're the guy, you're the glue that's brought us all together. Effectively, you embraced Islam how many years ago?
1981, so a long time ago.
Yeah, that tops me. That beats me all hands down.
Well, I think I'm a bit older than you as well, so a bit grayer.
Yeah. You wouldn't really know it though. Yeah. You look so good for your age of 106. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
I shouldn't tell everyone.
No,
I mean, alhamdulillah. Mohammed, so when did you start Voice of Islam? Just to let everyone know, this whole
Voice of Islam, I didn't actually start it. One brother started, but I took over not long after he was, his visa wasn't renewed, had to go back to Pakistan. So it started in 2002, but we got registered in 2004. So I've been sort of operating the last 16 years under a trust and things like that. It's been going, alhamdulillah, very well.
So more than 15 years of
Yes.
hardline,
Hard
not
line.
hardcore, hardline dawah.
Hard line, hard work, yes.
Yes, hard work, and
Yes.
lots and lots of people that you've outreached to. How many people do you think you've outreached to in these last 15 years?
Yeah, the thing is, we don't know, because I don't know a lot of people. As you know, I'm a bit shy, and I sort of stay to myself. And it's just like people come after years and say, oh, I came to Islam, first saw it on Voice of Islam, and then I got a Quran from you guys, and then accepted Islam. And like even years later, people come to us and say this and that, the same sort of story. So I know there must be a few, alhamdulillah. And even when the guys started going around the country, they met people and they sort of said, oh, send our salams to Mohammad Thompson. They said, oh, do you know him? They said, no, I've never met him, but we've seen Voice of Islam. And I'm not the one on front of the TV either. So I've never been on front of the TV. So they wouldn't have seen my face from it.
You're not missing much, bro.
No, I know.
Yeah, so now you have a particular desire to climb mountains. Do you want to tell the audience about that?
I think most of the audience probably who know me didn't know that I like mountains. Yes, I love climbing mountains. I'm missing it with this lockdown. I was actually I did plan to actually go down and stay on the mountain for a month, but they closed the mountain, so I couldn't go down there. So I've got a planned trip coming up in June, inshallah. It's actually Queen's birthday weekend here, so hopefully I have 3 days on there. Hopefully there'll be plenty of snow and ice to play around in.
Fantastic. So
and you're sorry, Yusuf, we've got a trip for you lined up as soon as they open the doors. We've got that one planned for January, and if Sister Booth wants to come down, we're going to climb the mountain and do some recordings on the top.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I was hoping you'd say, yeah, come down and see the boats and the sea and the valley. See, I'm a boat, sea, valleys, woods, mountains for skiing. But there's a few words in the English language that don't go together. Here's one combo: mountain biking. No. If you were to drop me at the top of a mountain on a bike, I could cycle down with my hands going, woo, I do that. Cycling up, no. I'm walking down a mountain, skiing down, walking up a mountain, no, wrong person. I'll go on a motorized bike.
Get the helicopter. Get the helicopter to drop you at the top. The search and rescue will drop you at the top.
I'll bungee jump out the helicopter. Yeah. Don't ask me to walk up a mountain.
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so which mountain are we going to be climbing up, by the way, when we go back to
Mount Taranaki? Mount Taranaki, inshallah. It's a beautiful mountain because you can actually see the sea. You can see the South Island from there. It's actually a mountain like Mount Fuji. If you know Mount Fuji in Japan, it's like by itself. So everywhere around it is flat. So it's beautiful. You can see the sea. So you can actually go up the mountain, climb down and go surfing in the afternoon or canoeing or whatever around on the beach and things like that. So it's about 2,600 meters. It's only very small.
MashaAllah. What a lovely way of life that Allah Ta'ala has given you, and a lovely piece of the earth. And I want to run this past our viewers as well. By the grace of Allah, in the last 10 years since coming to Islam, I've traveled to, much like yourself, Yusuf, around 40 countries in the world, many of the Muslim countries since coming to Islam. And I've just found that the wish to travel and stay in those countries and be with the Muslims is immense. But when you come to somewhere like New Zealand and you meet a mixed cultural background with all the blessings that Allah has given, it's another experience when it works. And what I wanted to ask you, Brother Mohammed, if I may, is this. I get a feeling, and Allah knows best, that Muslims, well, no, it's not a feeling. Muslims have to earn our right to be to be somewhere, okay? It's because we're meant to be the best, okay? That's what I mean. Not that people have a right to be prejudiced against us, but before Allah, we have to be doing good in that nation. So I wonder how the contribution of the Muslims is being received and how you see the status of Muslims generally in New Zealand.
Well, I'm actually a migrant to New Zealand as well. So I'm from Australia. So I came here 20
the worst
something.
kind of migrant then.
Yeah, exactly. So I came 23 years ago, and we find here the Muslims are very, good people. A lot of them are migrants and first generation, second generation, refugees and things like that. But they're settling in, alhamdulillah. But it's though there's problems here, some problems here and there, but nothing like other countries. The actual Kiwis, which are what we generically call the people of New Zealand, Kiwis, very nice, down to earth, easygoing, and it showed after the horrific attacks in Christchurch. The Muslims reacted beautifully, and the Kiwis reacted more so as well. It just gelled so much that that's what the whole world was in awe, and being here was just fantastic. You sort of think, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, and this is now a light, a leading light to show the rest of the world on how the interaction between Muslim, non-Muslim works and things like that. So it's alhamdulillah, and it's sort of moving on that way as well. Even the year after, it's sort of still there. As the Yusuf would have seen when we're down in Christchurch, getting close to the anniversary, the people coming up in tears. These were Kiwis in tears. They were coming up to the mosque in tears. They were crying. Even men, they were walking, before they got inside, they were in tears and saying, this is not us. And this, it was just so heart-wrenching and so beautiful. It just had to be there. And even the week after, alhamdulillah, happened to be the week after the attacks, they had the Jummah on the park. And it was so beautiful. There was 5,000 Muslims there and 15,000 non-Muslims cheering along and saying Allahu Akbar, and it was just unbelievable. This beautiful feeling that came from such a tragedy. And now it's given us, Voice of Islam, as an opportunity, like Yusuf would have seen in the tour we did, just so much opening up, the people wanting to know and things like that. So we've got a lot of work. So both of you guys, you want to come down, make this your home. We've got a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done.
Inshallah, I'm really interested in the Maori response, the indigenous peoples response, because we've seen some beautiful coverage of course, the haka being done outside of mosques and nose to nose. You want these people on your side. You're like, yeah, I'm with the big guy, because but the beauty of their tradition seems to lend itself to protecting people. Am I getting that right?
Yes, you are. That's the other beautiful thing about it. That a lot of the Maoris, if they go back to, and they tell us this, they say they go back and some of them are saying some of the words are Arabic words and things like that. So they actually got a connection, and also they got a connection because we're a minority, they're minorities, so they got this, us together against the world sort of thing. So it is really good. And where they do the hongi, which is the nose to nose, they say this is then a parting of the feeling between both people. So though we can't do it at the moment because of the 2 meter distancing and all this sort of thing, alhamdulillah, these are sort of things that bring closeness together. And alhamdulillah, there's many Maoris, both male and female, have actually accepted Islam, and there's more and more showing the interest in that. Inshallah.
Mashallah. Is it actually nose to nose or is it forehead to forehead?
Yeah, it's forehead to forehead, but they're sort of nosing. It's sort of the noses are touching, so when they're pushing together.
But it's that, and that's interesting because, of course, this is a very a special place on the body. It's a place of sujood.
Well, exactly. That's for us. That's we get that sujood. It's the closeness to Allah, and that's where they sort of the front of the brain is sort of going from passing of sort of things between both. So if I'm explaining it correctly, I hope that, some Maori might say that I've not explained it quite correctly, but alhamdulillah, I think that's from what I understood, they've told me that has that sort of connection.
MashaAllah, really, really beautiful. Yusuf, where would you like us to go now? Perhaps we on Facebook welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm co-hosting. Welcome to your, welcome to you all, and please do put questions in. And if Yusuf is organised enough, put them to us. Inshallah.
Yeah. So you saying I'm not organised, Lauren? That sounds like a passing shot.
Astaghfirullah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're basically, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to increase the audience by, just putting this on Instagram right now live. So we're on Instagram live at the same time because there seems to be some technical issues about sharing it. But great news, guys, is you can go to YouTube, you go to Voice of Islam TV, go on the Facebook page, go on my Facebook page and watch the whole of this interview live. You can see there. There's myself, there's Lauren, say salams.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. Peace be upon you.
Wonderful. And there's Mohammad Thompson, also
Alaikum. Welcome you all. And
good.
also
and
like us on Facebook as well and YouTube.
Yep. We're going to be doing this live every single day with different personalities from all around the world. We've got Abdurrahim Green, we've got Bilal Phillips, Sheikh Bilal Phillips, Abdurrahim McCarthy, Sheikh Hussein Yi. We've got a whole bunch of people, really exciting. Every single day of Ramadan is going to be really amazing. So I'm just going to pop the link in right now. So, this is all very non-technical, really. Okay, I'm going to go off now so you can watch that link and share it, my brothers and sisters. Jazakallah khair and have a great Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum. Right, so, and now, good. So now, Lauren, as this is our first, we can play around a little bit. And we've had a brilliant discussion about New Zealand, and I think we're all going to be moving out there shortly.
Absolutely.
If you can convince your family, I've been trying to convince my family as well. It's an amazing place. It's just so beautiful. The pace of life, the sheer scenery of it, this vastness of it. The fact there's only 4.5 million people living in a land which is like 4 or 5 times the size of the UK. It's beautiful. You've got the scenery, you've got nature, you've got all this togetherness, like you say. In a way, they're kind of about 30 years behind the nasty stuff that we see going on in Europe, which is a good thing.
Let's. I'm going to stop you there because I think I'm sure you're right about the 30-year gap, but you don't have to go there. And I think that's been a mistake that modernity has kind of put upon different cultures in the world. Is you're behind us, catch up quickly, or if you don't like it, it doesn't matter because you will be there. It does not have to be like that. You have your
That's what culture, I meant it's a positive. Yeah, I meant it as a positive thing because we've gone into territories in the West now where, I fear for the children here. I really do fear for us, let alone the children. And when I went there to the New Zealand, I found there was an utmost respect from most of the people. They were very polite. They were very, they were very genuine, seemingly. We've got the Maoris. We were doing the Hakka, and we were doing the as you say, the Hongi, which is touching the nose and touching the forehead together. And that's funny, isn't it? Look, that is the sujood. Those are the 2 places where the sujood. Now, there's also a lot of tie-ins with the Deen of Islam and their culture because we believe, having spoken to them, that some of them were Muslims before, and some of them are from the islands. And the islands, of course, they were Muslims in the islands before. So you got Fiji and all the different islands that they already, Islam has been to these places. So they're very close to the Muslims as well. And generally speaking, it's a beautiful place. And so Lauren, a little bit over to you because, I'm supposed to be interviewing you as well. How have you been doing in the lockdown? Has it been a benefit or has it been a challenge for you?
Everybody has their own reality in this moment because it depends where you've been caught in your life. So what happened with my daughter, I was over in the UK. She was about to come out to Turkey for the first time to see where I'm living now because she's an adult. So I wanted her to come over and bang, suddenly I get over. Next day, 2 days later, Turkey shuts the flights. My daughter's now given up her apartment for university because the university's shut. I've moved abroad. She's nowhere. And so yeah, it's been difficult. By the grace of Allah, we are an ummah. So she's with a family who we love very much in Manchester. But this is going to be our first, I'm going to cry, our first Ramadan apart. And she's not with anybody, nobody in her family. So that's 30 days where And we have to just keep each other strong and remind ourselves that Allah Ta'ala wants you there, same as he wants me here. And this is, he wouldn't give you this if you couldn't be strong about it. So this means that I'm not in your way. Maybe you know, it would have been so busy, there'd have been a block on what you can actually do. So let's come out of this better. So, you know, we have to teach our young that resilience from the basis of Islamic understanding, that there is no bad result as long as you're seeking Allah Ta'ala. And if you're on the right path, if you're increasing in ibadah, then these are good signs, because Allah loves the one. If he loves you, he's giving you ilm. So it's a time of great hope. But yeah, every millions and millions of families around the world will be in this same situation. So a little bit separated. However, I have to say that since coming to so the viewers should know, I met Yusuf before I came to Islam. Yusuf approached me about an Iraqi charity in around 2008, maybe 2007, maybe even 2005, a long time ago. And because I was vocal against the war in Iraq, and I must have seemed very kind of way out there, but my behavior to me at that time was just normal journalistic TV fame kind of behavior. So there was a normal amount of drugs, if there's such a thing. There's a normal amount of alcohol. There was a normal amount of just, you know, panic when things went wrong. It was all normalized, bad state to be in. So you don't know that you're in a difficult state because it's all normal to the people relevant around you. And so I've written a book about my journey to Islam, and Yusuf's in it. You've read the bit, I think. Of course. And I kind of
read the whole book.
Yeah, it's one of my reviewers, mashallah. And so really a stepping stone to Islam was meeting brother Yusuf Chambers and brother Abdurrahim Green, and thinking, why are these white guys pretending to be Arabs? Why are they wearing long clothes and growing their beards long and saying Alhamdulillah and all this Arab stuff that I've heard in Palestine? Bit weird, these guys. And of course, Yusuf's sense of humor. I just, the joke, you know, there was an event and he made a joke about women with mustaches and the room was silent. That's all. And I was howling. So really inappropriate. But so realizing that white people could be a different way, that was really something for me. But Islam means changing yourself, and I definitely wasn't ready then. In fact, funnily enough, Yusuf, I met Abdurrahim Green about 3 years ago for the first time. After many years, he didn't recognize me. I said, Salam alaikum. He went, Walaikum salam, because you know, and I said, Abdurrahim Green, it's Lauren Booth. He went, Lauren, that's amazing. You're completely different. Do you remember meeting me in that? And maybe you can talk through some of the changes that people go through.
Yeah. When we were at the Marriott Hotel in
Swiss Cottage.
Yeah. And we had royals, we had dignitaries there, we had Keith Halliday, I think it's Keith Halliday, the former UN guy. Yeah. And you were there. And yeah, he was Irish, and I made a joke about Irish, and he got angry about that as well. So I made some silly jokes that night. But the thing is, that's just the way we are. We can't stop being the way we are just because we embrace this faith. But I remember you were flighty, you were running all over the place in that, and you were going to. I shouldn't really mention what you were doing. I mean, I don't want to. Yeah. But anyway, point being is that. From there, you know, you were engaged in supporting the oppressed. You know, you were concerned about Palestine. You were concerned about Iraq. You were concerned about, you know, who would have been then the Prime Minister, Mr. Tony Blair, as being a person who was oppressing people, and you wanted to speak against it. You wanted to do the work, and you were committed to the oppressed in the world and the poor in the world. So that's what drew us together. And that is a prophetic value, to love the poor, to love the people who are below you. The Prophet Muhammad said, look at the people below you, don't look at the people above you. Look at the people that are below you. Because if you look at the people, you know, below you, then you will say Alhamdulillah for everything. So you already had that. And I remember saying to you, and I really genuinely believed it. I looked at you and I said, Lauren, and by the way, you're taller than I am, you know, and I was looking up to you in, you know, and you were a journalist, you were on Sky platform, you were writing articles and so on and so forth. You were on television daily. And I looked up and I thought, let me just be brave and say something. I said, look, Lauren, you're just too good to go to hell. You know, you shouldn't be in hell. And I remember thinking that was just me. Now that would have been like a smack on the face. For another person would have smacked me around the face and said, how dare you say I'm going to be in? No, but it just came out. And I remember
you know what, so you know what happened as a result of that. And this again, from the field of dawah and outreach, in a time of pandemic, in a time of plague globally, you know, to close our mouths and our hearts and think that people don't want to know right now about Allah is such a mistake. I mean, be the one who takes a risk. Be the one who says, you know, what's going to happen if we die? What's going to happen if we lose everything? You know, there is a caring system here. It doesn't have to be like that. You do know that, right? And give people the alternative. I mean, the worst I could have said is, how dare you? I have my God, you have your God, and it would have still been okay. But actually what happened, because Yusuf introduced that idea, is you said something like, it's a real pity you're going to go to hell because you seem like a nice person, right? Which is, he could do that to me because he recognized the personality, because we're from Britain. I'm not saying that is dawah, by the way, but you recognize, you know, it is dawah. It is dawah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, dealt with people to their level. So it spoke to them in their style. If it was a Bedouin, he used three or four words. You know, just do one thing and do that well. And then if it was a leader,
plant the seeds, right? Plant the seeds, Lauren.
And so I went away that night and I thought, I'm really bothered by that. I'm really bothered to think that there is this Islamic God, one God. I know he's the same God actually, and that I might be on the wrong side of my own history here and heading for hell. And I wrote it in my diary. I just said, why does this bother me? Why am I worried about that? And how do I change it? So that seed was probably 2005, and the you know, the journey can be as long as Allah wills to really break our spirit. Because the thing is, you know, the bigger the higher you are, the harder you fall. You know, the more you have, the more you have to have taken away in order to get the greater reward. Because you know, there is a saying in consumerism which is really interesting. Well, what you own eventually owns you. So the meaning of that is that everything that we buy not only takes away from some part of the rizq, the monetary and all the health ability that Allah has given us even, but because it's there, an object in our lives, it has an ownership over us. And what's interesting to note is that the Prophet ﷺ had so few objects, but loved them so much that he named them. So can you imagine having so few objects, but not being disposable, that you'd name them? I mean, probably we'd name our phones, I love you, Karen, whatever you call your phone, right? You know, but would we name a pen? Would we name a coat? Oh, this coat, you know, Habib, it's nice to see you because it's so precious to you. So really that lack of that having too much and then having to have it taken away. So by 2010, I was having, you know, Ramadan experiences in different mosques around the world. That's what I can say. So maybe if you're watching this and you're feeling lost at the moment, just to let you know that we know that Allah Ta'ala, the one true God, the God of the Christians and the Jews, the God of all of us, is right now preparing for the gates of heaven to be open and all that energy to come towards us, and the gates of hell to be closed, which means the negative energy of the world is just from us. So that's a big concept to deal with, but know that this is a very precious month. And if you're feeling, you know, lost and alone now, this is a great time. Just cry. Just ask God, guide me, show me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what is the truth, because God will tell you what the truth is, but do the asking, do the work.
Yeah.
And so I guess I started to do the work around 2008, but I was still, locked in non-transformative behaviors, in kind of, just average everyday selfishness. And one thing I did, which really scares me now, and honestly, if Allah hadn't forgiven me, there was only one place I was going after death. I was so wealthy, with this house, with a swimming pool in France, two beautiful daughters, a husband, everything in dunya, 100 grand a year, that I thought, and I actually said this to a French friend, may Allah forgive me. I actually said one night by his fireplace in a little cottage drinking wine, I said, you know what's amazing? I only have to think things and they come into being.
SubhanAllah.
Astaghfirullah. I said to him, shirk, major shirk that night, and I shudder to think of it. It was, I felt so confident that I said, I just say I want this and it comes to me. And do you ever have that feeling? Isn't it amazing, and being all powerful? In 6 months from making those statements, I had nothing. 6 months, no husband, no house, no money, no job. I went through the biggest fitna of my life, until 6 months later, I was in a 1-2-bed flat, run-down flat in London, with not even a car. And I was crying on the ground, putting my head to the ground, saying, please, Allah, just my kids. Take it all. I get it. It was all yours, but just leave me my kids. And many people now will be feeling like that. The job is gone. The self-esteem built on showing people, material wealth, that doesn't function in Zoom. Right? We can all fake the background. Yeah. It doesn't function in the same way. Nobody's coming to your house and going, yeah, good for you. You need to have bigger dreams, Yusuf.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. So none of that. So that is the breaking point for a lot of people, but that is also the opening. And so at the same time as having lost everything, in dunya terms, by the grace of Allah, that Ramadan, I was given Islam in my heart. So.
Jazakumullah khair for that. That's awesome, and that was a call to the souls out there that may be wondering and maybe thinking there's got to be more to life than just eating, sleeping, and drinking and spending money that you've earned. And obviously that there is. I mean, everything in the world, the created world, has a purpose, doesn't it, Lauren? And when you look around you, look at the universe, you look at the small things from the macro to the micro, you see written in it, in the creation, you see the same creator, you see the creative power, and it's just awesome. I mean, do you know what I did the other day? I was reading about the date, and the Prophet Muhammad said, even if you give half a date, you know what I did? I cut the date and the date stone in half. And I looked inside the date stone, and the design was awesome. You wouldn't think in a date seed that there will be anything more than just some sort of amorphous, nothing really. But inside there was a design. And I put it on Instagram and I said, look at this, guys. Look at this and fathom this. Can we create anything? No. A human cannot even create one cell, one fly. And the Quran mentions if they all came together and assembled all of the brains and the scientists in the world, they could not create a fly. And if the fly was to take something from them, they could not get it back. Now, what I think about that, when I think about that, is a mosquito giving you a disease. You can't create the disease. You can't create that mosquito, but the mosquito can take something from you, which is your life. You can't get it back. So
I'm just looking here at thank you. Sorry, Yusuf, that was you because you raised something in me that I want to share about on that same line. And I'm just looking for the ayat. Maybe somebody out there will know it. but there are so many points. I mean, I lived in France, as I mentioned, and I'd been a city girl, a London girl, and so I'd never even had a plant pot that I'd kept alive, a plant, you know, because I travelled so much. So I knew nothing about farming or growing things. And then we found ourselves in this farmhouse in the middle of France with jasmine around the door and peach trees and rhubarb and onions. And the first winter, we moved in October and it was still sunny and everything was flowering and it just looked like, you know, the Garden of Eden. It really did. And then come December, I'd done a bit of pruning and gone, okay, well, that's probably a weed, I'm not sure, and pulled out a few things and cut the jasmine back. Come December, everything was dead. And there was a farmer who used to come round and give us dead pigeons. His name was Roger. He's passed now, in Lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. But he was very generous to us kind of weird English folk on the hill. And he used to bring us these birds and I had to pluck them and they were really tasty pigeons. And he came around one day and I said to him in French, Roger, there's a big problem with my garden. He said, oh, what is it? I said, c'est mort, it's dead. And he kind of looked at me and went, yeah. I said, but look, the jasmine is dead. Look, the peach tree is dead. I said, I've done this. I've killed everything. And he looked at me, he said, what? Quoi? What? I said, I think I've killed the garden. Why is it dead? And after a really long pause, he went, c'est hiver. It's winter. That's what happens in winter. But what I saw was things that were dead twigs. They were dead twigs. There was no way that they would ever grow again. And that January, that February, we had frosts, we had snow. It got to like -15. We were freezing, sleeping in our coats in this blooming farmhouse that we thought was a good idea. And then come February, we started to see things coming back. And I didn't have to do anything. And I was not in control of it. And by March, back in the Garden of Eden. And never
Lauren,
have I been humbled.
Sorry, that is Surah Al-Rum, verse 19. And he brings the living out of the dead and the dead out of the living. He gives life to the earth after death, and you will be brought out in the same way. So in the same similitude of things, that everything created has those life cycles. Everything, trees, plants, fish, the ocean has an eye, that the stars do. The sun itself is a middle-aged star. It's a middle-aged star. It's going to die. You know, people have to realize these things, and they have to reflect upon them. And I'm sure every single human being does that, right, Lauren? Now, you did that for a long, long time. How did you? I mean, just kind of just to summarize that journey right towards the end of the last 3 years or something. Was there a cataclysmic moment where you just?
I kind of reached peak hedonism and peak self-centeredness. I loved my kids and I was a good mum, but I looked forward to my wine and my friendship groups and the negative behaviors that are kind of that type of socializing was still part of me, and I wasn't developing as a human being. There was a sense of, and I'd been a believer. I'd been a very religious kid. In fact, my mum said to me a while ago, she said, the family have been talking about how you've become an extremist. And I'm like, in religion? And I said, okay. She said, and they've been asking me why you became an extremist. And I said, what did you say, Mum? She said, I told them you were always a weird kid. And I said, what do you mean by weird kid? She said, well, you were always praying. You were always saying, I'm going to speak to God about you. I'm going to ask God. God knows best. And nobody taught me this. We didn't go to church. My dad was a lapsed Catholic. My mum was superstitious more than religious. But there was me. Please, God, I just was a believer. But then my nafs and my desires put the veils between me and faith. So there was a gradual, really, I owe a debt of thanks to the Palestinian people, because I went there in 2005, 2007, 2009 after Gaza had been flattened again. But really, in a majorly horrific way rather than just everyday horror. And I remember in a refugee camp in Zaytuna, which is part of a UN inquiry into what happened there, the whole town had been flattened, and I wasn't Muslim, wasn't in hijab, I was just a journalist knocking about, and I said to a woman, can I come and speak to you? And she said, yes, come and sit down. And she did this thing, she was sitting on the rubble of her house, and she said, 1 minute, and she shouted at some children, and they got me a chair. They got me a chair, and they put me a chair on the rubble of her house. Because even in decimation, she had a protocol about how to treat a guest. And then this mother said, do you want to see my sons? And I said, yes. And I looked at the snotty kids with no shoes running around. And instead, she went into a plastic bag and she got out a photo of 3 dead babies. Right? They've been shot. 3 dead Palestinians. She said, this is Ibrahim, this is Yusuf, and he likes to do this. And then she said, Alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks to God. And I was like, how? What does that mean? She said, because I know they're with God. I know their test is over, and I know they're going to ask for me, and I know my rights with God. And I thought, wow, if I break a heel on my shoe, I'm ungrateful. So I started to realize that there was this whole other concept of what peace of mind means, and what reality is, and who Allah is. And so it took another 3 years, but I kept making my way into mosques and trying to pray. And then in 2010 in Ramadan, I slept the night in a mosque because I had such a feeling of peace that if you felt it, I wouldn't have gone home to my family. I went into a mosque just as a tourist to do some secret filming because I thought, this will be a good article for the Daily Mail. And I sat down and a waterfall of peace came over me. And so I said to my Muslim friends who I was with, can I sleep on the floor? They said, sure. And in the morning I prayed Fajr. And a week later I took my Shahada by the grace of Allah. And, it's just such a blessing.
Subhanallah. Of course, all our journeys are fraught with danger, and mine was 11 years after leaving school and running away from home, and it was very dangerous. It was very daring. It was crazy. It was mad. No one I met was a waste of space. I consider them and ask them different questions and probe them and make them angry, usually because we ask too many questions when we don't know. When we're on a journey, of course, we want to know the direction, don't we? So we ask a lot of people, which way is it? Is it this way or is it that way? And if you're not doing that right, and you're on a journey, does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. So everyone out there, be them Muslim, or be they Buddhist, or be they whatever they consider that they are from their family, the ultimate thing, Lauren, is it's about the fitra, isn't it? It's about the deep internal mechanism, in the hard drive, which is the operating system of every human being, which we all share. All of us share. And so that's why it's important that we share information and we communicate with each other, like you've already indicated. And that's partly what we're doing here on this series of shows that we're going to be doing every day. By the way, brothers and sisters, every single day we're going to be interviewing. Lauren's going to be back at least 2 more times, if not, inshallah, bi'ithna Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 3 more times. And we're going to be interviewing lots of really interesting personalities from all over the world. During this month of Ramadan. We're going to be talking about Ramadan reflections as well, how to maximize on the benefits of Ramadan. It's only 30 days, 29 days, 30 days. It's really important, very, very important that we all share the links, to this. We've had a few technical issues, but I can see it's running. It's running, guys. Yeah, you see, it's running. There I am on YouTube, alhamdulillah. So it's very, very important you share the links, and your way of communicating with the outside world doesn't have to be you physically. Share the link. Lauren can talk to them. I can talk to them. Mohammad Thompson over there can talk to them. Anyone can talk to them, and just plant a few beautiful seeds. Just that's what it is. That's all it is. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of you and all of us, and allow us to really enjoy this Ramadan. Enjoy it. First and foremost, enjoy picking up the Quran. And that was the next question, Lauren. How's your relationship with the Quran? I know it's difficult as an English guy, an English person who's you're par excellence at English communication. You're a communicator, you're a writer, and we're going to talk about your book as well, which is a fantastic book about your own journey, which everyone needs to get a copy of. But tell me about your relationship with the Quran today, as compared to.
I think that's a really good question, because I think we should all be asking ourselves, what is my relationship with the Quran, and constantly be having assessments about that. So where I'm at right now is this: I have met, by the grace of Allah, the kinds of Muslims and teachers, the kind of academics and people who know it, that actually see the Quran as a guidebook. And what do I mean by that? They pick it up and they say, I have to be generous in this way. How do I implement that generosity today in my life? And they read it as a literal guidebook. And I realize that may Allah guide us all with what we're trying to develop, is that I'm still seeing it as interesting stories of guidance, but I'm not sure I'm taking the guidance. So I read it, I love it, I love Allah. I love to struggle through with my little bit of Arabic, but am I actually embodying these things? Can I take, I mean, I don't know about you, Yusuf, and Brother Mohammad, but I think we probably all know people who embody one really good thing in the Quran, and you're like, wow, how do you do that? How do you, and it's not about risk, it's not about having the bank balance to put a thing in and go, I'm going, it's about the person who serves their neighbors like their mothers. It's the person who, is absolutely faultless in the area of business, and therefore their business has grown, and they grow other people. It is some act that they've read about in the Quran and go, I can do that. I know I've asked Allah, and I'm going to put that thing into place. The Prophet, peace be upon him, embodied everything, but the rest of us should at least pick some things out and live it. So I think that's where I'm at right now.
Lauren, you and I share a teacher, don't we?
Yes.
The Quran teacher, and he's actually, by the way, he's going to be doing every single day after this show. He's going to be doing a live lesson, which people can join after this.
I'm going to join then. I'm going to rejoin. I keep joining and rejoining, right?
So do I. Yeah, so do I. Because you learn something new every day, don't you?
Yeah.
And just from knowing Surah Al-Fatiha, the Adhan, Ikhlas, Surah Al-Ikhlas, or the Al-Falah, Qul huwallahu ahad, Al-Falah, An-Nas, etc. 7 small verses of the Quran, 7 small surahs of the Quran, and a few bits and pieces. You can know.
Sorry, they're testing. It might get noisy. They're testing something. I'm just going to put your mute me,
okay.
Yusuf.
Mute. Okay, let's try and mute you. Okay, so yes, so we just muted Lauren. It's not because she talks too much. She talks a lot of beautiful sense, alhamdulillah. This Arabic teacher, his name is Arjan Ali, and I've known him for a number of years through some very good friends of mine. And he's been teaching a course which teaches you up to 50% of the words of the Quran in 19 hours. If you really, really focus on it, you can understand your salah. You can have more khushu', more focus and concentration on Allah and the words of Allah. The words of Allah are not normal. They are not normal. We can write reams and reams, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about anything, any other subject you like in the world. But the fact remains that the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are totally unique. They're not like a human's words, subhanallah. So we're going to unmute. Yes, we're unmuting you again. Go for it.
Okay, you can. I'll tell you why. I'll just listen to the noise coming out. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the 23rd of April. I'm not sure what they're celebrating here in Istanbul, but the school opposite, which has been closed for ages, is blasting out some kind of nationalistic song. So that's the downside about where we live. We live opposite this school. So if it's annoying you, let me know.
No problem. So yeah, so we were talking about the what we were talking. What you were going to answer a question, weren't you?
So we were talking about, what was the learning in the Quran, where I'm up to at the moment, which is a really great question, and I'm going to use that in my interviews. Thank you for that. So I've made a couple of very simple goals. One, to complete the Quranic Arabic course. Secondly, I'm going to read the Quran in English. This is my month of reading it in English because I feel it really is important that I understand what's being said, even on a basic level. So I'm not saying I have the tafsir and a deep understanding, because that takes a long time, but to at least, have Allah communicate for me to feel his words. And then I spend 30 minutes a day on tajweed. So I'm not doing loads of courses because the day is long and there's a lot to do, but to complete 3 things to do with the Quran in this month, those are my goals. I wonder, Brother Mohammed, what are your goals this month?
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll mute you, Lauren, for the time being. Thanks. Mohammed, goals of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam barakatuh. Yeah, goals of Ramadan, I try to improve myself, sometimes a little bit short on patience, as some of the people around me might know, so try to improve on that, especially as we're a little bit tied down more than so before, because like a lot of the time you just go to the mosque and you stand behind the imam and praying the Taraweeh and you're sort of just, going along with it, but this time it's got to be more, even though I only know small surahs, is to try and concentrate more and to try and just get that connection a lot more, especially when you're making sujood, and to ask Allah to, protect us all and to save us all from the hellfire and bring us all together in humanity, and to also to see how much we can spread the deen of Islam to all these non-Muslims and also other Muslims who are not following us, as much as they should be. So, there's a lot to do. Going to have the family around with us, so get with them as well, and just try and do as much as we can, inshallah.
Well, Jazakumullah khair. Of course, you are leading up on an organization, again, to repeat myself, Voice of Islam New Zealand, and it's not just for New Zealand, it's for all the islands. You're working in several countries, aren't you?
Yes. We have a big operation in Ghana, in West Africa, that we've been there for several years, and alhamdulillah, the dawah work there is enormous. We crashed our website a few years back when we started offering free Qurans. We're just getting every day. It was during Ramadan, our first Ramadan, we're offering free Qurans, and every day 300, 500 people wanting Qurans, because over there it's not like in the West where you got Qurans that just never seem to be open. Over there, you see the pages and the pages just falling apart because they're just overused and they haven't got any other ones. So, alhamdulillah, there's a lot of work to be done, and time's running out.
MashaAllah, we've got. I'm just checking some sort of comments on the group. As we warm up into this system, we're going to be accepting questions, etc. We've got Sister Samantha Saira, who's a brand new Muslim from Leicester. She's watching. Allah, please, she's making dua. She's saying, Allah, please let us become more like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace and blessings be upon him, and reflect on all the amazing things he did for humanity and for the kindness that he gave. Ameen. I'm going to unmute you, Lauren. Yep.
Okay. So it's free voice here. I'm going to say salam alaikum and to see you next time, inshallah. And I just leave you with Surah Al-An'am, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And there is no animal that walks upon the earth, nor a bird that flies with its 2 wings, but they are like yourselves. We have not neglected anything in this book, and then to their Lord they shall be gathered. So may we be gathered and have a graceful meeting one day in the future, inshallah, for the sake of Allah. May you have a blessed Ramadan, and I pray to see all our brothers and sisters in New Zealand, inshallah, and look forward to coming on a couple more times, inshallah. So stay tuned.
And Anisa, by the way, Anisa Kasoon is on, because she will be talking about the prophetic medicine in some upcoming episodes as well, and she's a very, very amazing practitioner of Tib an-Nabawi, the medicine of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She gives you salam, Lauren, because you know her very well, and the whole audience.
I mean, so salam alaikum. I'm gonna let you go now, and see you again soon. And may Allah bless you. Thanks for hosting me. Jazakallah.
No, thank you very much, Lauren. It's been absolutely amazing.
We'll see you next time, inshallah.
And I can see you're flourishing as a da'i. You're flourishing. Alhamdulillah. That's brilliant news. Thank you very much. Take care, Lauren. Assalamu alaikum. Yep, so basically we've unfortunately lost Lauren, but we just continue for a few moments, and we're going to end the show pretty much now. It would be ended normally, but I've just wanted to emphasize the fact we're going to be on every single day. We've got now lined up, Mohammed, we've got Sheikh Hussein Yi, we've got Sheikh Bilal Phillips, we've got Abdul Rahim Green, we've got Wasim Kempson, Sheikh Wasim Kempson. We've got Abdurrahim McCarthy. We've got Lauren coming back on again. We've got Anisha Kasoon, who's Yusha Evans, of course. Yusha Evans. Yeah. And we've got also Anna de Van Doorn from Holland coming on. And it's really going to be an exciting month with Voice of Islam coming at you through the World Wide Web, talking about the faith of Islam, talking about Ramadan, focusing on some of the beautiful aspects of this amazing month, subhanAllah. This month when I took Shahada myself. I mean, most people, that I know, Islam, Ramadan had a major impact on their journeys to Islam. Is that the same with you, Mohammed, before we leave?
Yes, alhamdulillah, I accepted Islam halfway through Ramadan in 1981. Yeah. See, alhamdulillah.
There we are. See that? See that? So
Ramadan Muslims. Ramadan Muslims.
We're Ramadan Muslims. Hopefully, we do Islam outside Ramadan, because that's usually a cusp, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, but guys, realize what you're sitting on, and realize this month is the month when many of the major battles in Islam were won. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his wife Khadija radiallahu anha accepted this message during this beautiful month. Huge things. I mean, Ibn Rajab said that the Psalms of David, the Injil, the original Injil, the Quran, and the Zabur were all revealed in the month of Ramadan. Did you know that? Subhanallah. This month is an incredible month, right? Big salams to brother Tyrone Smith. He's out there watching as well. I've just seen he's on one of the groups. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and step up the dawah to your community. I love your community. I love the Maoris, and I love the indigenous guys from New Zealand. They're amazing, as well as the Europeans. They're very beautiful as well. Guys, it's been wonderful. First show. Sorry about the technical hitches and so on and so forth. It's going to get better and better. We're going to invite you guys to be on the platform so you can ask live questions as well soon. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to find Shahr Ramadan, where the Quran was revealed. Unzilil, it was sent down strongly. It was sent down strongly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this month. And that's why it's so special. That's why it's amazing. And we're going to be fasting to boot with that. And we're going to be fasting from our homes. But you can join us, and we can fast together. We can talk about Ramadan together, and we can get the benefits of this beautiful faith together, inshallah. Mohammed, any closing words?
No, just that during this month, it's a special month. So we pray that during this month that a cure comes for this coronavirus and helps the world get back to some sort of normality, but also we need to reflect and contemplate during this time and just think about what we have, what we may have lost, but we still have our Creator, the one who looks after everything, inshallah. Jazakallah. Tell all your friends, let them know what's on, let them know it's here every night. Or I won't say every night, every day at the same time it was on, because we've got people from all over the world. We're at night time here. Brother Yusuf's in the morning. Sister, I'm not sure when she was, somewhere in between. So I think, wherever you are, just check out, see when it's on, and just same time every day, inshallah, for the next 30 days.
Well, barakallah feek. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you guys. I hope you find the Ramadan moon yourself. You're able to sight it yourself wherever you are in the world. Ameen. And let's start the fast maybe inshallah tomorrow, inshallah. And don't forget, so 10 o'clock UK time, 12 o'clock Turkey time, 9 p.m. every single day for the next 30 days at least in New Zealand. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله أنت أستغفر الله وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay.
We're off.
Yeah, we're off. We're off. Yeah. How did that go?
Yep, good.
Not bad.
Alhamdulillah.
Not bad for a first one, wasn't it?
It was good. It started off